It's true. At 56 years old, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf is finally telling the full story about the rumors, the protests, and the price he paid for standing by his beliefs. How did a man with one of the smoothest shots in basketball history vanish from the NBA before turning 30? How did someone who could make 283 free throws in a row become one of the league's most controversial outcasts? The answer goes deeper than you think. Born Chris Wayne Jackson on March 9, 1969, in Gulfport, Mississippi, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf's story begins with struggle. Raised by his single mother Jacqueline, alongside two brothers, Omar and David, their household was defined by poverty and poor nutrition. But Chris had a secret weapon he didn't even know about yet. He was dealing with an undiagnosed moderate form of Tourette syndrome. The condition wasn't identified until he was 17 years old. His early struggles in school, including being placed in special education classes, were directly caused by this neurological disorder. Basketball became his escape. Despite the challenges, he dominated on the court. He won Mississippi Mr. Basketball in both 1987 and 1988. He even played in the prestigious McDonald's All-American game. Here's what's remarkable. Dealing with Tourette's actually taught him how to handle what he calls hurdles and a proverbial unfair deal. The extraordinary discipline and focus he developed to overcome these foundational challenges became the same inner strength he would later use to face immense public backlash. At Louisiana State University, Chris Jackson became a scoring machine. He was a consensus first-team All-American for both seasons he played in 1989 and 1990. He was named CC Player of the Year in both seasons too. As a freshman, he set the NCAA scoring record, averaging 30.2 points per game. He followed that up with 27.8 points per game in his sophomore year. LSU retired his number 35 jersey in 2020, cementing his legacy. But even in college, his style was different. He had a quick trigger and fearless shot selection that clashed with traditional expectations. This wasn't just talent, this was a preview of future conflicts. Here's where the story gets incredible. Abdul Rauf says he wouldn't be the basketball player that I became if it wasn't for Tourette syndrome. This moves beyond overcoming adversity. His condition became a competitive advantage. The compulsive nature of Tourette's drove him to perfection. He would practice hundreds of free throws daily, unable to move on until the shot felt perfect and produced the desired swish. This led to legendary practice sessions where he made 283 free throws in a row, then 267 in another session. His shooting accuracy was supernatural. In the 1993-94 season, he shot 95.6% from the free throw line. That's the third highest seasonal percentage in NBA history. This wasn't just hard work. It was a neurological condition compelling him to strive for precision that few players could sustain. While Tourette's created challenges, from visible facial tics during games to difficulty tying his shoes, he believes it also taught him empathy and humility. Chris was drafted third overall in 1990 by the Denver Nuggets. He won NBA Most Improved Player in 1993. Standing 6 feet 1 inch and weighing just 162 pounds, he was known for his unbelievable quickness, ball handling, and shot-making ability. He posted a career-high 51 points against the Utah Jazz and a career-high 20 assists against the Phoenix Suns in the same 1995-96 season. His unique style, characterized by a lightning-quick release and scoring-first mindset, earned him comparisons to Stephen Curry from figures like Phil Jackson. But here's the problem. This approach is commonplace now, but was considered unorthodox and different in the 1990s. Coaches tried to force him into the role of a traditional playmaker, which he was not. They labeled him selfish. This conflict over his playing style was an early indicator of a larger clash coming. The NBA wasn't just unprepared for his later political protest. It was already struggling to accommodate his unconventional identity. The turning point came with his conversion to Islam. His LSU coach, Dale Brown, had given him a copy of the autobiography of Malcolm X, which, along with the Quran, proved to be a profound influence. This new spiritual path was transformative. He found himself enjoying reading more than going to the gym. He officially changed his name from Chris Jackson to Mahmoud Abdul Rauf in 1993. His new faith provided the moral framework for his long-held convictions about justice. These beliefs had bothered him internally from a young age. He came to view his duty as being to his creator, not to nationalistic ideology. This conversion wasn't random. It was the direct cause of his later political stance. His conviction to live and die with a free conscience and a free soul shows his protest was an authentic expression of his identity, not a choice made for fame. During the 1995-96 NBA season, Abdul Rauf quietly stopped standing for the national anthem. He stated that the American flag was a symbol of oppression and that the United States had a long history of tyranny. He also believed the Quran forbids nationalistic ritualism. On March 12, 1996, the NBA suspended him for one game, costing him $31,707. The league cited a rule requiring players to line up in a dignified posture cheer during the anthem. 2 days later, a compromise was reached. He agreed to stand during the anthem but was permitted to close his eyes, look downward, and silently recite an Islamic prayer. The reaction was swift and brutal. He was widely condemned by the media and fans. A Denver radio station engaged in a mocking publicity stunt, sending 4 employees to a Colorado mosque to play the anthem on a bugle and trumpet. The employees were later charged with misdemeanor offenses. While he received support from teammates like Jalen Rose and Shaquille O'Neal, he was admonished by figures like Chicago Bulls coach Phil Jackson. Abdul Rauf felt his character was assassinated and was subsequently blackballed from professional sports. In June 1996, he was traded from the Denver Nuggets to the Sacramento Kings. His minutes in production declined significantly. After 2 seasons with the Kings, his NBA career effectively ended at age 30. The consequences went beyond basketball. In 2001, a vacant home he was building in rural Mississippi was destroyed by arson. Abdul Rauf believed the fire was racially motivated, citing prior acts of vandalism on the property, including the initials KKK and other graffiti. He noted that the fire was a sad indication of how far we've got to go in terms of human relations in this country. Later that year, he appeared on HBO's Real Sports and expressed skepticism about the 9/11 terrorist attacks, suggesting they might have been an inside job and that Israel may have been involved. He believes these comments were the fatal blow to his NBA career. Following his exile from the NBA, Abdul Rauf played internationally. He suited up for teams in Turkey, Russia, Italy, Saudi Arabia, and Japan. Despite a 2-year contract with Fenerbahce in Turkey, he left before completion, citing a loss of interest in the game. He briefly returned to the NBA with the Vancouver Grizzlies. His love for basketball always brought him back to the court. He later found renewed purpose playing in the Big Three League for the Three-Headed Monsters, where he ranked 5th in three-point field goal percentage in 2018. His continued professional journey demonstrates his sustained talent even after being blackballed from the NBA. In recent years, Abdul Rauf has reemerged as a social justice advocate and public speaker. He is now widely referred to as the Kaepernick before Kaepernick. He publicly supported Colin Kaepernick and was not surprised by the backlash the NFL star received. He recognized the historical pattern of retribution against black athletes who speak out. Abdul Rauf remains resolute in his beliefs and views his personal and professional burdens as tests from God. He continues to pray for the world to be better and for the diminishment of poverty, oppression, unjust systems, racism. He is using platforms like his autobiography, In the Blink of an Eye, and a Showtime documentary to reclaim his story. He feels his narrative was deliberately painted in a false negative light. Abdul Rauf's protest shares significant parallels with Muhammad Ali and Colin Kaepernick. All 3 figures risked and lost significant professional opportunities for their principled stances on social and political issues. However, Abdul Rauf's protest had unique aspects. His stand was rooted in recent religious conversion and was preceded by a career that was already a stylistic outlier. Unlike Kaepernick's protest, which gained momentum from teammates and a broader movement, Abdul Rauf's was largely a lone stance, widely condemned at the time. This highlights his role as a true pioneer, whose protest was initially dismissed as personal controversy, but has since gained historical significance as a harbinger of modern athlete activism. Today at 56, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf stands vindicated. The man once vilified for his principles is now honored. LSU retired his jersey. His story is celebrated as pioneering courage. His narrative is no longer about losing millions. It's about keeping a free conscience. He succeeded in his deepest prayer, to be a voice for others and to live and die with a free conscience and a free soul. The renewed relevance of his story in the age of Colin Kaepernick and widespread social justice awareness proves his protest wasn't a relic of the past. It was a foundational moment in athlete activism that continues to echo through generations. It's true. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf has finally told his truth, and it's one every fan of the game and of courage needs to hear.